Attention the flying public. Boeing's 22-year industrial fraud exposed. Ladies and gentlemen, I do this because my background is aerospace and medical implants and printing, etc. And I do this for you, the general public, who don't know anything. In essence, you want to get on the plane at point A and arrive in point B. What happens if I tell you that most of those planes you ride on that were manufactured by Boeing were manufactured in an uncertified, unverified, and unsanctioned situation, atmosphere? Let's continue. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow citizens, fellow business associates, I am Daryl Guberman, a quality assurance expert with over 40 years in aerospace and manufacturing. Today I am here to expose what I believe is one of the most shocking industrial and fiduciary frauds in aviation history. A 22-year deception that has endangered the trust of the flying public. Please do not listen to the FAA. Please do not listen to the DOJ. Please. They're part of the problem, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you time and time and time again. And you know what we have? Do you think I'm going to jeopardize my family name? They can badmouth me all they want, but we have the facts and definitive figures. The 22-year deception that has endangered the trust of the flying public, misled regulators, and duped investors around the globe. For over 2 decades, Boeing, one of the largest aerospace manufacturers in the world, built aircraft under a system that was uncertified, unverified, and unsanctioned. This is not a minor lapse, ladies and gentlemen. This is not paperwork issue. This is a systematic breakdown of industrial and fiduciary responsibility. From 2002, shortly after the tragic events on 9/11, Boeing issued a supplier bulletin demanding AS9100 certification from its suppliers. This certification is critical. AS9100 is a global standard for aerospace quality management. It ensures that every part, every assembly, every system is built to rigorous, audible standards that protect lives. Yet, while Boeing demanded it from everyone else, Boeing itself was not certified. I will say it again. They were not certified. In fact, fast forward to June 2024, Elizabeth Lunn, Vice President of Boeing Quality, publicly admitted in a Reuters interview that Boeing did not hold AS9100 certification, that they were prepared to get it, prepared and willing to get it. Think about that for a moment. Think about that. The very company building the airplanes you and your loved ones go on, for business trips as well, for holiday, to visit relatives. The military aircraft defending our country was operating under the fundamental, internationally recognized quality assurance standard for 22 years. They didn't have it. Boeing did not have it for 22 years. During that time period, Boeing built approximately 12,000 commercial aircraft and around 400 military aircraft under uncertified, unverified systems. Each one of these aircraft was flying the skies, carrying passengers and critical defense missions under a veil of illusion. Yes, under a veil of illusion. That Boeing operations were fully certified when in fact they were not. Let me be clear, ladies and gentlemen, business owners, to the flying public, to the investors. The implications of this are staggering. The flying public trusted Boeing. Investors trusted Boeing. Suppliers trusted Boeing. And all that trust was built on a mirage of compliance. Imagine the suppliers who spent millions to meet Boeing's certification demands while Boeing itself operated outside those very standards. It is a betrayal of every level, industrial, ethical, and fiduciary. As someone who has spent my life in quality, I can tell you certification is not just a certificate on the wall. It is a guarantee that every step of production is verified, every process audited, every component meets exacting standards. When that system is bypassed, every implicity, the consequences can be catastrophic. And Boeing's own VP admitted it. They bypassed it. This is not speculation. This is documented fact. Reuters reported it. Suppliers knew only what Boeing told them. Regulators assumed compliance. The market assumed Boeing's integrity. And for 22 years, it was an illusion. Now I am sounding the alarm from the highest mountaintop. I am warning the flying public. I am an investor, by the way, of Boeing stock. I am warning the investors too. I am warning every supplier who trusted Boeing's demands, every business partner who assumed Boeing was operating under the same rules and imposed on them. This is an industrial fraud, a fiduciary nightmare, and the implications for safety, ethics, and trust are enormous. I call on regulators, lawmakers, industry leaders to examine Boeing's practices rigorously, to demand accountability, to ensure that such a lapse never happens. Lives are at stake, and trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to rebuild. To the flying public, your trust has been compromised. To the business community, your investments have been misled. To the aerospace suppliers, your efforts have been exploited. And to Boeing, the time for excuses has come to rest. Full transparency is required, Mr. Oberg. I remember April 2nd, 2025, when everybody was reading off that script. Ted Cruz, Maria Cantwell, and you as well. I've been to many of those senatorial meetings. A sham, a charade. If anyone wants more information or wants to discuss the technical details, the industrial implications, or the history of this ongoing mismanagement, I am available. I am Daryl Guberman, and you can reach me at 203-556-1493. Let me be a wake-up call. Let me expose this truth. Boeing built thousands upon thousands of aircraft under an uncertified, unverified, and unsanctioned system. The public, the military, and the global aviation community deserve the facts, and now they will have them. Thank you. As a matter of fact, here's a web shot. I have all 10 years between 2014 and 24. I'm sorry for it being backwards, but here's Boeing sitting on the ANAB Management System Accreditation Committee. Number one, you have conflict of interest. Boeing sitting on their accreditation body. That's conflict, okay? But it gave the impression to the suppliers and the investors, oh, they must be very into their quality, into their integrity. Well, sorry, for 22 years they didn't have it. Because you know why? Elizabeth Lund said it in this Reuters expose. In this is it, and I will read it to you. Boeing is willing and prepared to obtain AS9100 certification, an internationally recognized aerospace standard for quality that the plane maker requires for its suppliers, she said. Boeing is already compliant, which means nothing, with the standard and has been audited to the level as if it was certified. Listen, I stood up on April 2024. Here I am with the two documents from April and July of 2002 showing them that Boeing gave up on-site auditing for certification. Send your certs, send your parts, we're good to go. Here's Sam Salapar, the whistleblower, who talked about the design issues with the Boeing 777 and 787. And look at the 777. From what we've gathered, Boeing has pushed it off to delivery of a 2027 due date. When I stood up that day, a friend of mine said, Daryl, do you know how many people you spoke for who don't have a voice? You spoke for 4.7 billion people who fly annually on these jets. Now you have 12,000 aircraft approximately flying around that you don't know what went into that aircraft. The whole thing about quality is continuity. AS9100, AS9100. It's continuity. Once somebody doesn't have that, like Boeing, the original equipment manufacturer, which is really bad, you throw your parts into the abyss. 203-556-1493. And I thank you. And we're the guy who exposed the largest industrial and fiduciary fraud this world has ever seen. 203-556-1493. We did this, exposed it, because we care about each and every one of you that don't know me, and I don't know you. but somebody has to have a voice and tell the truth. I thank you.